Well, happy Christmas again, the fourth Sunday of Advent. And today's all about joy. Isn't that wonderful? Joy. The Christmas season is full of joy, which is why we opened with Deck the Halls. Is that not why we deck the halls? To fill our homes and our atmosphere with joy. And I know there are some people that don't feel joy during this season, especially during this time of COVID. It can be a struggle for some. And so our hearts go out to you if you're one of those. And we hope to spark just a little joy in your life this morning so that we can bring forth that flowering of the joy within you. And we're going to start today, believe it or not, with astrology. And I have to say first, I know just enough to be dangerous about astrology, but I do know, to me, it just shows the divine order of the universe. That every day we have these planetary influences on us as a collective consciousness. And yet we have the free will of what to do with these planetary influences that keep changing and affecting us. I mean, this month there has been a lot going on. We've had a solar eclipse and a full moon. And tomorrow, have you heard all the scuttle about tomorrow? December 21st is a rare, very rare alignment. And there are two polar opposites that are affecting us right now. The opposite energies of Jupiter and Saturn. And what I do know about astrology is that Jupiter is all about expansion and growth and all the blessings we can possibly manifest. Where Saturn is more resisting that, and it's more about keeping things stable. And so you have these opposite energies. One wants to expand and the other wants to keep things as they are. But if you can imagine these two energies working together, we can have balance and stability while we expand our consciousness if the two opposing energies can work harmoniously, stabilize, and balance as we're expanding. Now, to add to that, we're going fully into Aquarian energy, and Aquarian energy is much lighter. It's more about connecting rather than division. Isn't that refreshing? More about connecting. And it's a time, they say, of a great paradigm shift, which could revolutionize society. Michael said we're about to skyrocket into the void of infinite possibilities. Hold on to your seats. Doesn't that sound exciting? You know, most people desire change, but at the same time, we can be afraid of change if we don't know what it's going to be. But I can tell you this, no matter what happens, whether anything does happen, if we stay grounded in our union with the divine, just stay grounded in that, and stay grounded in common sense, we'll all be okay. We'll all be okay. So everybody's wondering, when we wake up tomorrow morning, will it be any different? Well, probably not. We'll probably wake up, the sun will still be shining. I'll still have my cup of coffee. Most things will be the same, but I think what's going to change as a collective, we're going to start seeing things differently. Seeing things through union, not separation. And focusing on the inner rather than the outer. And in that change of perception, yes, society can certainly be revolutionized in that seeing it differently. Now, if we're looking to the outer to find the Christ, it's totally futile. And my favorite story, and I don't remember if I told this last year, I hope I didn't. I'm getting to the age where you may hear me repeat stories. Just tap me on the shoulder, give me a hug, and tell me it's okay if I have. But it's such a wonderful story. Because there was a time in my life when I was looking in the outer for something. You see, before I found unity, wasn't that sad before we found unity? I was watching Robert Schuller, The Hour of Power. Such a positive message every Sunday in the Crystal Cathedral, and the music, it was very inspiring. And of course we tithe to him because we always tithe to where we're spiritually nourished. And he would give little presents. I don't know if you remember, but if you tithed a certain amount, we would get a present every week. And that month of December, he was sending out beautiful little porcelain nativity sets. And I got it, and it was so pretty, a little nativity set that was all white porcelain, and I had it out over the holidays. And then after the holidays, I packed it up along with my Christmas decorations. But as I was putting it away, I noticed the Christ child was missing. And oh my gosh, I looked all around under the furniture. I even vacuumed and took the vacuum cleaner bag. You know how disgusting that is. But I so wanted to find the Christ child. It was such a pretty little nativity set. Finally, after looking all over, I put it away in a box, marked it garage sale. And in the spring, when I had my annual garage sale, I put my nativity set on the yard sale, and I had a note because I'm an honest person. I put Christ child is missing, 50 cents. I figured it was at least worth 50 cents with or without the Christ. Well, I was surprised. The first person that came to the yard sale scooped up that thing and came up. She was so excited. She just thought this was the prettiest thing she'd ever seen. And once again, I reminded her, well, you know, the Christ child is missing. And she said, no, it's not. It's right here. And I said, where did you find the Christ child? I've looked all over for the Christ. Where did you find it? She said, well, you had the manger in the box upside down. I just said, oh, that's all I could say. I love that because it's the same with finding joy. It's the same with finding joy. And when we try to look out there for our joy, it's like looking for the Christ out there. It's futile. Life is a journey to find the inner Christ. And there should be a book. I wish there were a book, Finding the Inner Christ for Dummies. I would definitely buy that book. It's embarrassing sometimes being a minister and not being able to find the Christ. I love these finding, these dummy books, doing this for dummies. I started to read them back before we switched from PCs to Macs. And when the PCs came out with Windows 8, I don't know if you remember when Windows 8 came out, but Windows 8 was the most confusing thing because it was totally different from all the other operating systems. And it was in the computer, but they didn't tell you how to get into it. All the instructions were in the computer. And here I was with my Windows 8 computer, and I couldn't open it or turn it on because I didn't know how. All the instructions were inside, and even once I figured out how to get into it, I couldn't figure anything out because the instructions were inside. You had to know how to get in, or it was catch-22. And I was getting very frustrated, and I was about to throw that computer out the window, no pun intended, when my administrative assistant back then, to save his own life, I think, said, Ann Marie, why don't you buy Windows 8 for Dummies? And it was wonderful. And suddenly I could do anything because I had Windows 8 for Dummies with all the instructions. And different religions try to give you these instruction manuals. I mean, look at all the different philosophies. We've got the Bible, we've got the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Book of the Hopi. We have so many different manuals, but there's really no clear, practical instruction for finding the Christ within. I think Unity's books are the closest. We have Lessons in Truth, Discover the Power Within You, Christian Healing, Jesus Christ Heals, Keep a True Land, all the Charles Fillmore books. They point the way, but you still have to find that inner Christ yourself. And it's the same with joy. It's all in here. Now, happiness is different. You can find happiness out there. I'm happy a lot of times. I have found happiness in my children. I found happiness in my husband. I found happiness in my home, my work. All kinds of things out there can make me happy. But joy is so, so different. It's something that rises up from within. And it has nothing to do with the outer. I have felt joy when I was dying with an illness. And I felt joy at that moment. So it has nothing to do with anything out there. It just rises up from somewhere deep inside of us. You know, I don't know how many of you were raised on a farm like I was, but my mother would come in for milking every night and bring a big thing of milk, and she'd put it in the refrigerator. And you all know what happened the next morning. The cream did what? The cream rose to the top, and we'd skim it off and have it on our breakfast cereal every morning, which is probably why I look the way I do, but it was delicious. Joy is like that. As soon as we let go of any resistance, it rises up in us. I know Michael always says joy is the total absence of any resistance to the divine presence. And it's just there. But you can't make it happen. You can't force it or control it. It rises up as soon as the resistance is released. And you know when you feel it, because it feels different from happiness. You know it when you feel it, but it's hard to describe. I was reading my morning reading of A Course of Love this week. And I love it when what I read matches the message I'm going to talk about this week. And it talked about how joy, most of us feel joy from our natural gifts. And what they said was that each of us learns that, you can learn something by reading a book, by taking a class. But joy is different because joy comes from something you just do naturally. You've not really been taught it so much. It's a natural gift. And each one of you here has a natural gift that's different from each other. And you don't know how you got it. You're just good at it. It comes easy to you. So it's not something you learn. It's your natural gift that comes from your union with the divine. I know for those of you on Facebook, you probably noticed that Katie put something on Facebook this week. She said when she was a little girl, people used to tell her she talked too much. I know they used to tell me that too. And now we're both making a living from talking. She's teaching Spanish language. She's singing. I'm a minister. But see, those natural gifts that we don't always understand why we're blah, 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 and then we grow up and we go, oh, wait a minute, this is a gift to be used. And those gifts that come natural to us bring us the most joy. And they can express as talents, gifts, intuition, visions, callings, whatever you want to call them. But they're the kind of thing that when you do it, it feels like play. It doesn't feel like work. There's so much joy in it. It feels like play. It's almost like singing and dancing. It just may be why the Sufis twirl and dance to go into that ecstasy of joy. The Hopis dance, the natives drum, Chubby Checker does the twist. Everybody has something that brings them great joy. They're natural gifts. And it takes us out of our egoic mind where joy can then rise to the top. In the Christmas story, we're reminded in the book of Luke, he, meaning Christ, will reign over the house of Jacob. And Jacob metaphysically represents our mental, intellectual nature. But what it's saying is the ego mind controls that and can resist sometimes. Where the heart is where the Christ resides, and that must reign over the mind. Or as Michael likes to say, you have to lose your mind to gain your senses. Sometimes you just have to let it go. Jesus never said, I've come to save you miserable sinners. He never said that. I've looked all over, haven't been able to find it anywhere. But what he did say is, I have come so your joy may be complete. Abundant joy. And it's in your heart and it just rises up when all resistance is released. Is that so hard to believe? I mean, what's easier to believe, that 2,000 years ago a virgin mother gave birth to a baby, or that this year Christ can be born in you as joy, as joy. And I found this blessing, you can call it the Tennessee blessing because it talks about mountains and hills, but it was originally in the book of Isaiah. And the blessing says, "For today you shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands with joy." Isn't that a beautiful blessing? You shall go out with joy. Let us take that into prayer for a moment and just allow that Christ presence in the manger of your heart to be that presence of joy in you. And without any effort, just simply release any resistance, whatever might be holding it back. Release the need to control or force it out. Release any anger or unforgiveness. Release whatever blocks might be in your heart and allow the joy to come forth. And we just allow it to take us into that higher state of mind that we might awaken tomorrow morning and see the world differently through union, through love, through harmony, through peace. And we rejoice in that new beginning for the collective consciousness to create a new world, a higher world, a more joyous world. And we do pray this in the nature of the Christ, and so it is, so it truly is. Amen. Well, Terry and Gigi are going to have another sing-along. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
If you'd like, you could even stand and join us singing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas." Do you feel that? We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings to you wherever you are. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. Oh, bring us some chocolate pudding. Oh, bring us some chocolate pudding. Oh, bring us some chocolate pudding and a cup of good cheer. Good tidings to you wherever you are. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring some out here. Good tidings to you wherever you are. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
That was fun. I was singing away, and then I realized singing is not one of my natural gifts. And so I tried to quiet it down a little bit. Now is the time in our service to acknowledge all you wonderful people that have kept this church afloat during this time of the pandemic. We so appreciate your support this year, especially this year. And for those of you at home, if you would like to donate, you can go on our website, unitycookville.org, and click on the donate button. Or you can mail your check to 823 East 10th Street, Cookville, Tennessee, 38501. And for those who are here with us, there are baskets in the back. And by the way, our website is about to be renewed, a whole new facelift to our website, so be sure to check it sometime in late December, early January. It'll be a big surprise, okay? So let's say our offertory blessing together and with great feeling together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. And finally, we'll close with our prayer of enfoldment. We pray it together. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us.